I'm always going to tell Tom Brady, Tony Romo, Greg Olsen, Troy Aikman, Matt Ryan to go get the bag. What I am doing is saying how in the world are they the only ones that's getting access to these type of contracts. Because somebody told me, they say, well, you don't get these contracts because you're not polished yet.
Who's to
What
say?
type of media training did Tony Romo have before he just popped up commentating the game? And he does a damn good job.
He does.
Tom Brady, same thing. Like I ain't never seen Tom Brady cover no.
And they could be doing some stuff behind the shadows that's not
understood though.
But they skipped the line of a lot of people.
That is my point. How can we get other minorities to skip the line too? Because we all know ball.
Cam Newton has a tree sticking out of the top of his head.
Yeah.
And he's wondering why he can't get a broadcasting job. And he's taking pot shots at Tony Romo. And, Tony Romo quarterbacked the Dallas Cowboys, and there are benefits that go along with being the quarterback of the America's team. Troy Aikman won 3 Super Bowls with the Dallas Cowboys. Tom Brady obviously is the greatest player of all time. Cam is just doing too much here.
Here's the issue, and Cam is an accomplished quarterback. We can argue about the merits of the consistency of his career, but he did go to a Super Bowl. He had that magical, dominant MVP season in 2015. But first of all those guys that he named, you could make an argument. For the most part, didn't all those guys have better careers than Cam? At least consistently they did. There's no doubt about Brady and then Aikman with the 3 Super Bowls. But as you mentioned, presentation at that level, it's one thing to do your own YouTube channel. And Cam, I've got to give him credit. He's done a nice job of cultivating his own platform. Credit to that. Does a really good job on that. But presentation is important. And there was a time before Cam had that long hair, he looked very presentable, looked very, very good. And I'm thinking, ooh, you can go places with that. But Jason, I don't know on Monday Night Football or the Sunday night game of the week on NBC if you can look like the Mad Hatter like that and be trotted out as the number one guy. Presentation matters. The other thing, in terms of being polished, I think his diction is pretty good, but you have to speak a certain way. And at that level, the street slang does not work. That does not play in Peoria. I know people do not want to hear it, but I'm going to be honest. If you look at the way these guys talk at that level, there are certain lines you cannot cross. The other thing, Jason, if Cam gets one of those big jobs, I would say, first of all, good luck. But number 2, stop going to those 7-on-7 tournaments and stop getting into fights, because that does not help his cause. I know a lot of this, people do not want to hear it, especially from me, but I'm just going to tell the truth. Argue with me about the points, because you can't. All of this is the blunt truth.
Making sure you have fruits and vegetables in your diet is important for maintaining a healthy diet, but it can also be difficult, especially if you're busy. The average person doesn't even eat half the recommended servings in a day. That's a huge gap in nutrition. And inflation has seriously increased the cost of fruits and vegetables. That's why Balance of Nature provides an on-the-go solution, and they haven't raised their prices for 10 years. Their proprietary blend of 31 fruits and vegetables come in easy-to-swallow capsules and will give your body so much of the nourishment it needs. Imagine trying to eat 31 different kinds of produce in a single day. Well, that's what you're getting from Balance of Nature. Fruits and veggies. When you go to balanceofnature.com, you'll get 35% off plus $10 off any additional sets with your first order as a preferred customer by using my discount code FEARLESS. That's limited to 5 sets, but you'll save a ton of money while getting the fruits and vegetables you need in your diet. Make a splash into the summer with Balance of Nature supplements. Go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer. Use the promo code FEARLESS to get 35% off your first order, plus a free fiber and spice supplement. Hurry, this offer is only available while supplies last. Listen, as it pertains to polish, there is a sliding scale. And so for that number one job and these guys getting that big money, that number one, They want to present an image of the NFL and the network and the game that's very polished. But then, again, Aqib Talib, Fox Sports hired him calling games. This guy's a thug. He was a thug throughout his college and pro career. He helped get a father assassinated on a football field in Dallas. He was given a broadcasting job. He's been a thug his whole career. Presented himself in a ghetto, thuggish fashion while on Fox Sports. I love this guy. He's probably in my top 20 athletes of all time. Michael Vick gets to work on Fox Sports despite spending time in prison. I love Michael Vick. I don't want anyone to hear this as criticism. I love Michael Vick. Love his whole story. I love what Tony Dungy helped and Andy Reid helped him accomplish in the second wave of his career. But this whole thing, Richard Sherman, they catch this dude on tape trying to break into his in-laws' house, and the next week he's got a job on Amazon Prime on their halftime show. What is Cam Newton talking about? Put yourself in position to get one of these jobs. I love this guy, Warren Moon. Love him. He's great. He could have had one of those jobs, but I don't know the facts of it, but he had some domestic violence issue that, kind of discounted him getting one of these number one type jobs that the Hall of Fame quarterbacks get. And you say, well, Tony Romo's not a Hall of Fame quarterback. Okay. But Tony Romo, just as you said, Steve, and look, he was never MVP. But 4 Pro Bowls. Cam had 3 Pro Bowls. Matt Ryan was MVP, took a team to a Super Bowl, appeared in 4 Pro Bowls. Cam Newton, 1 MVP, 3 Pro Bowls. There's a way. Take Mike Royko, who was the greatest newspaper columnist in American history, in my view. And so I wanted to be like Mike Royko. And so I tried to carry myself and present myself the same way as Mike Royko. Mike Royko was an everyday guy that liked to go sit at a neighborhood bar, have a drink, and play softball with people. He was everyman. That's why I've leaned into, and it's factual, but my dad's bar, the Masterpiece Lounge, was my favorite place on earth. But I played that up as part of my persona because of Mike Royko. He grew up the exact same way. And so if Cam or anybody wants the jobs that Tom Brady and these other guys, why not look at them and say, hey, I need to carry myself in the same way as them. I need to present myself in the same way. I got to take this tree off the top of my head and present myself in a more polished fashion. Why not?
Jason, it's funny you mentioned Michael Vick. And you think Michael Vick would give the same advice he gave to Colin Kaepernick while you're sitting next to you on Speak for Yourself? Hey, you want that job? Cut your hair. Go cropped. High top fade, but make it like kind of a little bit shorter than cameo. Seriously. I mean, would he be willing to do that? The other thing is, Jason, I remember shortly after their retirements, as TNT got the package for NFL Sunday Nitro. I don't know if people remember that. Joe Montana and Lawrence Taylor, based on their status, were given jobs. They were microwaved to these primetime positions. Eventually, so was Eric Dickerson on Monday Night Football. You know what the problem was? At that stage, they were not good enough to keep those jobs. And Joe Montana was just very uncomfortable. And I think he also had a role at NBC. Lawrence Taylor, I heard the problem was he didn't really prepare. He didn't really care about the job. And unfortunately for Eric Dickerson, one of my favorite athletes, he was not a sideline reporter. I thought that was just a bad role for him. But guess what? In that particular setting, you still have to be good enough to keep the jobs. Think about Greg Olson. Greg Olson was the number 1 guy last year. But because he's not Tom Brady, as good as he was, he got relegated. I mean, that's a tough profession. And by the way, he's a white guy. So it's not like it was just like some, The other thing I really think about is you have to be willing to travel and do it every single week and give up a portion of your life. It's not just like going to your podcast studio and pontificating for 3 hours. You have to go to, because Joe Tessitore gave me the rundown of what he had to do when he was on Monday Night Football. Jason, I was amazed that for 1 3-hour football game, he literally has to work 6-7 days a week in terms of preparation. So again, it's easy to say that, but that job comes with a lot of responsibilities also.
I'm looking at because I'm sure a lot of this conversation is going to revolve around, hey, look at how they're doing the white quarterbacks. And so I'm looking right now at a list of the greatest black quarterbacks. And I've already rattled off Michael Vick. He got a job at Fox Sports. Yeah. He's not calling games. But again, Michael Vick's been to prison, dogfighting, all of that. So that kind of knocks him out of getting the type of job that Aikman and Romo and these guys got. Warren Moon, I mentioned, great guy, great Hall of Fame quarterback, had the domestic violence issues. Steve McNair, he's dead. Steve McNair has passed away. Would have been a candidate for that type of job. Donovan McNabb would be a candidate for that type of job. Drank himself out of it. 2-3 DUIs. That's on Donovan McNabb. It just, I could go, who are the other
Robert
candidates?
Griffith III, RG3, Jason, had a flame out of a career, but he's made a media career out of it. That's an example.
Yeah, and he's woke and trash as a broadcaster.
Putting that aside, yeah. Yeah, but outside of that, he's great.
Yeah. I don't know if Doug Williams had an interest in broadcasting, but, you know, I think Doug Williams probably played in one Pro Bowl. Obviously, he won a Super Bowl. But it's – do you think Patrick Mahomes will have some opportunities when his career is over? Yes. Do I think Lamar Jackson will? Probably not. He doesn't talk that well. Plain and simple, period, end of story. Russell Wilson, do you think he may have a shot, particularly if he does anything in Pittsburgh? If he somehow led Pittsburgh to a Super Bowl, he'd get fast-tracked, no different than Drew Brees, and he'd get his shot, and we'd see if Russell Weirdo can be a broadcaster. But this is just whining and the whole victim mentality that and again, if you're going to come in with Cam's mentality, the next thing you know, you're the broadcaster and everybody else has to work around your victim mentality. And next thing you know, you're sitting up calling a game and instead of talking about the game, you're talking about how someone's getting treated unfairly and it's racist the way it just turns into a hot mess. So Cam, you know, and I'm telling you, I was a big Cam Newton fan, particularly when he was at Auburn. But good Lord, man, grow up. And I'm going to circle it all the way back to where we started at. These guys just ain't that smart, man. They're just too talented. They're just not that smart. If you enjoyed that video, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe so you never miss a moment of Fearless.